Well, thank you all for joining us. This is the first episode of the Float STL podcast.
Yeah.
I'm Kevin McCullough, the owner and founder of Float STL, and today we have the pleasure of being joined by Allie Fodrill from the Well Yard, chiropractic office here in St. Louis. But just want to open it up for you, Allie, to tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us a little bit about the Well Yard.
Yeah, so I'm Allie Fodrill, like you said. I own the Well Yard, which is in Maplewood, Missouri. And I do like to introduce myself as a chiropractor, but the Well Yard is a lot more than that. And so the Well Yard is designed as a place to combine all the best from chiropractic, the adjustment, and what you typically picture for chiropractic, but also then with rehab and dry needling and acupuncture and laser and shockwave, all these things that we kind of use to get patients, typically tough cases, better. And then the whole idea is that there's an end date to care. We want you to stay better without us, ideally. Yeah, so thank you for having me.
Yes, thanks for being here. That's really interesting in how you've kind of like designed the concept. I'm curious if you could tell us a little bit about what your journey was like to get to this point. You know, how did you first get into chiropractic care?
Yeah.
How did you learn about what was available within chiropractic care and then get to that evolution of designing the concept for the Well Yard?
Yeah, so the story of me getting to chiropractic is pretty boring. I knew I wanted to work with the human body. I can't handle blood. That limits you. And I kind of fell into chiropractic. But the more exciting story is actually how we got to the style of chiropractic that we do. I love chiropractors. I am a chiropractor. Chiropractic is known for, like, you just have to keep going back over and over again. And then you get 2-minute appointments. It's just a quick adjustment. Maybe if you're lucky, they'll put some e-stim on your back. And it's kind of it's a continuous thing. You always have to go. And people that know me know that I hate that. Like, I hate that I would be reliant on something else outside of what's within me to get better and stay better. And so, I realized it fairly quickly throughout school that if we combine all the best from kind of like physical therapy, the rehab of physical therapy, and with all those other modalities that I talked about, we could really get patients better, and then they were staying better. And then realizing that this didn't really exist a whole lot right now in the way our healthcare system is kind of shaped, I realized that there was this hole in the market that needed to be filled. And then also particularly, like, if you can find this, it's typically ran by a man. And so being a female in this small niche of the industry is kind of unique. And so just filling the gap, filling the need.
I love that. Yeah. That's great. When you think about the customers, the people who come to see you, how do they typically find you, and what typically brings them in?
So this is such a young person building a business thing to say, but I would say 90% of our patients come from social media. It's such a untapped, typically like free market. Like a lot of it is free. And so we built our business almost entirely off of that. And now we have referrals and things like that, because once you do a good job, word spreads fast.
That's right.
But people are typically finding us because they've tried everything else. They've tried PT, they've tried traditional chiropractic, they might even be signed up for a surgery, and they're desperate. And typically those are the people that are coming through our door. And they're looking for hopefully a more conservative path to care, to getting out of pain and staying out of pain.
So is pain usually the main symptom?
Typically, yeah. I mean, pain is quite the motivator, unfortunately. It just is what it is. Yeah, I would say pain more than anything. Yes, you can do preventative care on a lot of people and a lot of bodies. You can find patterns in movement. Long before you ever feel pain, I could have told you that you were going to have pain based off the way you move. But people typically don't do anything about it until there's pain.
Yeah. And you have a whole team there? Is it you that's facilitating the care, or you have a team of professionals? What's that look like?
So it used to be just me.
Okay.
Because we opened up a little over a year ago now, and it was just me at first. We now have 2 full-time admin. There's another full-time doctor, Dr. Eddie, and then we're adding Dr. Vandana, and she'll come on in May. So there'll be 3 doctors at that point.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what would you call this type of care? If it's, you mentioned traditional chiropractic, how would you coin the phrase for the care that you're offering?
I think I call it rehab chiropractic. It kind of varies depending on also like who I'm talking to and what the person needs too, because holistic, people also call it holistic, but I'm not doing nutrition, and there's some other aspects of that where I never want to misguide people, if that makes sense. So I think I stick to rehab chiropractor.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I know here we think a lot about the time when we're first coming into contact with the guest as they walk through the door, and how we kind of build the relationship with them before they start to engage in the services.
Yeah.
What does that look like at your place in terms of somebody finds you on social media, they reach out, is there an initial consultation? How do you kind of assess the needs before you start engaging in the care?
Yeah, this step is very important to us because we actually don't take every patient that comes in through our door. If we cannot help you or we are not the best fit, we will find you that person. And so kind of what that looks like is questions, and then we put you through a movement assessment, and that helps us decide like, okay, yes, this is a case that we feel like is good for us and for you, and we could see success, because if not, we'll send you to where you need to go. Like, I'm not afraid to admit when it's also not my job to treat somebody. And then from there, we also then get to tell you all about the well yard. And I think in medical care, oftentimes it's one-sided. Like, it's like, okay, you need this surgery, you're gonna book it next week and go see the front desk staff. And here, I at the well yard, I really want you to choose us too. I want you to want to be there and like feel confident in what we're doing for you. And so it's very both ways. Like, I have to choose you as a patient because I believe I can give you what you need, and you have to choose me as your provider because, I mean, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. Does that make sense?
100%. Yeah. I wonder, are there ever times when you talked about having the end date that's predetermined?
Yeah.
Do you ever have clients or patients that want to just continue in kind of like a forever, like in a maintenance way, like this feels good, I just want to keep doing it?
There's absolutely those people. And you're not abandoned at the end of care, certainly. Like, I understand the want and the need to continue. The idea is, though, you only need those once in a blue moon. You need a little tune-ups here and there. To be honest, if they are looking for the on-repeat chiropractor, I have fabulous referrals for that. But for us, we do our best work not in that maintenance field and world. And I do really firmly believe in, like, I stay in the lane that I am best at, if that makes sense. And then we have, I mean, there's a chiropractic school in St. Louis at Logan University. They are pumping out chiropractors, and this market is extremely saturated in St. Louis. And so if you don't want to come to us then, like, repeatedly, because we don't do that, there are plenty of them for me to send you to, if that makes sense. Fabulous chiropractors too. Like, they're really good. So.
And then what's the typical length of treatment? I imagine it varies based on what you're working with, but is there some expectation of, how short is too short? How long is too long?
We're typically seeing people at least 6 to 8 months. And it's slowly spread out. We see a little bit more often at the beginning, and then we're spreading you out. So that way your body gets used to what it looks like without us in your life, if that makes sense. But no, typically we're treating problems that have been chronic in nature and like they've been going on for a really long time and you've been dealing with it for a long time. And so that doesn't happen overnight to take that away, if that makes sense.
Definitely.
And build like sustainable change in your body.
And so when you talk about like the chronic pain, what are some of the ways that originates within people? How do they develop the chronic pain? Is it from, I don't know, things like sports injuries or car accidents or physical conditions? Like, what do you see as most common?
I would say honestly, all of the above. And typically the nature of what we see is we see really hard cases. And so it's not just even one of those typically. It's like I hurt my left knee when I was playing football in high school, and then I got in a car accident, and then I had a baby or whatever it may be, right? And they kind of stack up. And then there's always complicating factors. There's social factors. There's what you put in your body, the way you treat your body. Like all of those things stack up on top of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Like taking care of somebody is kind of like peeling back an onion. You're like getting to like every layer.
So the body's kind of adapting until it can't, and then you're pulling it apart to understand all the ways that it has been adapting that led to the chronic pain.
Totally. Like our bodies are fabulous compensators, and they're trying to do you a favor until they can't. Yeah.
And you mentioned a lot of your, do you call them patients or clients?
Patients.
Patients. A lot of your patients do come here to float. Is that something that you've heard?
Yeah. So in a lot of my patients' cases, recovery is very important. And people ask me all the time about all the extra things in life, right? Like should I be taking these supplements? And should I do this detox? And should I be adding in all right? There's so much stuff out there, especially on social media, about wellness and whatnot. And I tell them literally all the time, like if you're not getting the rest that you need, the recovery that you need, even your workout, you are asking your body to put additional muscle tissue down on your body. That's what a workout is. If you're then not doing the recovery to put that muscle down, it's a waste. It's a wash. It can sometimes even be counterintuitive. And so getting good recovery, getting good sleep and restful moments in your life, that's hugely important. And so, yes, I have had patients be like, yes, I was actually talking to a patient about the fact that I was going to be on this podcast yesterday. And he was like, oh, I've been to float. And he was saying like, that was one of the most peaceful, restful hours of his life, which is like really cool testament to
Yeah, I love that. We love to hear that.
Yeah.
I was thinking about when, what do people misunderstand about chiropractic? There's always a lot of kind of opinions about chiropractic care, and people seem to have different ideas when they think about chiropractic care. There's people who love chiropractic care and people who have strong opinions that hate it.
Yes.
You know, what do people get wrong when they think about chiropractic care? And you talked a little bit about how it's different at your business, but tell us a little bit about how you see the difference.
Yeah. I think one of the big misconceptions is that we're just like old school chiropractors. I have to adjust your neck. You don't have a choice. That's the only way that's going to fix you. And a lot of us aren't that way anymore. And I think even then, the bigger misconception on top of that is the fact that all of us are the same. We vary drastically. Like the way I practice is very different than most other chiropractors. But I also might not be what you're looking for, if that makes sense, or what your body needs. And that is okay. You can always find another one. It's like finding a therapist. You might not click with the first one you find, and that is okay. But I think chiropractic has come a really, really long way. And we have done a really good job of digging a hole of our own reputation. And I think the people should give it a second chance. But the important part is finding the right one for you in that second chance, when you give them a second chance. It's really fun to surprise people like that we're better than you think we are.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, they have an idea of what chiropractic is, but the service you provide is better and different.
Yeah.
Yeah, much more personalized.
Totally.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's great to hear.
If it doesn't feel personalized, I would find a different one.
Yes.
That is big advice that I would
Yes.
give. Yeah.
When you think about all of the different treatment modalities that you offer, what are your favorites?
I think, okay, I have two favorites. I love a good laser. Class 4
Tell me
laser.
about laser.
Yeah, so class 4 laser, it essentially, in layman's terms, lowers inflammation, accelerates healing. On a deeper level, 6th grade biology, or mitochondria, is the powerhouse of the cell. It helps the mitochondria make energy so that everything that we're asking of your body to do, like lay down new tissue or heal a tendon or any of those things, it can actually do those things. And so it's really just like the ultimate helper. But it's crazy how fast it'll sometimes work. So on a gizmo gadget level, that's my favorite. And I love surprising people with it. I also paid a lot of money for mine, so I love using it.
Is it a wand, or how do you use the laser?
Yeah, wand that like glides over your skin.
Okay.
And it feels nice and warm, and it doesn't hurt, which is also great because sometimes needling doesn't always feel great. Shockwave doesn't always feel great. And so laser's just like, it feels good. It's relaxing.
And for those at home, tell us a little bit about needling and shockwave, because I'm not sure I'm super familiar with them either.
So I mostly dry needle. And dry needling is essentially, we have tight muscles. We also have underactive muscles. And so putting needles into the muscles that are too tight helps them like let go and relax. I also love putting needles into muscles that are underactive. Certain things, like when you have an ACL repair, your quad, the front of your thigh muscle, turns off. It will physically be smaller after surgery. And so putting needles into that and then hooking that up to E-stim, which doesn't hurt, it's just a pulsing sensation, but that gets the muscle to contract, which kind of helps us like tell your brain like, yoo-hoo, come on, like contract this thing, use it, like let's get it going. So I love dry needling. And then shockwave, medical grade massage gun.
Okay.
It's hitting you hard. Does not always feel fabulous, I'm not gonna lie to you. But the golden standard for tendon and ligament repair. So any tendinitis issues, we love to use it on that. Plantar fasciitis takes care of it in like 6 visits.
Wow.
Like
that's important. I had plantar fasciitis.
Oh, then
very
you know.
painful and very difficult to get rid of, very difficult to know what to do. I would have loved to know I could have gone for 6 visits and had it taken care of.
Now there's some maintenance. You got to get your foot strong too, so it stays that way. But taking away the initial pain, fabulous at that. Yeah, I love both of those modalities. I think the key though with all of this, you have to do the rehab afterwards. You have to then get that area strong and stabilized, because otherwise pain will come back.
So do the patients get homework then?
Yes.
Yeah. And what's that like?
It's not long. It doesn't take much to get actual good results. It's typically like 5 minutes a day. I give like very concise, not never-ending homework because most people have busy lives.
Yes.
They're not going to do it if it's hard. And so we try to build it into like their life. And obviously we have some people that are like, give me more, send home more. And we can absolutely do that. But no, just about 2 exercises. They change up every so often as you advance and move through things. But the key there is also we want them to look like your life activities. Because if you're doing 25 band pulls like this for your shoulder rehab, but you're an overhead athlete, a CrossFitter that likes to shoulder press, bands aren't really going to cut it. But like that doesn't really work in your life. And so by the end, your rehab should look like a CrossFit workout. Or I had a dad that wanted to be able to bend over the crib and like put his baby to sleep without low back pain. So we recreated a crib in the office for him to practice doing that with good core engagement so it didn't hurt.
Wow.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's very
it's fun.
cool. That's very cool. I'm just going to check my notes real quick so I can stay on task. So, how much of what you see is physical versus stress or lifestyle driven? And do you see those two as being separate or integrated?
Those are definitely integrated. You can't really separate them, especially nowadays with how much you get inundated with so many things throughout the day, and stressful things at that. I think most of the time it is a physical injury that has happened that we are seeing that then gets compounded because of lifestyle choices and stress, and things like that. And so you can't separate those two typically. Yeah.
And so how does someone, a patient of yours who comes to see you, how do you work with the lifestyle part of their experience, if that's a contributor?
Yeah, it's a lot more about conversations around that, if that makes sense. There are certain things that we are never going to be able to change in certain people's lives, or they're not willing to change. Like if you have an extremely stressful job, but it pays your bills, great. We just then need to have things that combat that, like meditation, like journaling, like just going for a walk every day, things like that. Now, this is also where I recruit people outside of me. Like sometimes we need more help than what I am even licensed to do, right? Even though I'm sure if somebody saw my sessions, they'd be like, I didn't know you double as a therapist. I don't. But we do talk about all of life, right? Just because I'm with my patients for a full hour. So we get into some pretty deep conversations, which I love. It's one of my favorite parts of my practice. But that's where I'm also recruiting other people who are more knowledgeable in those fields than even I am and are licensed to take care of that, if that makes sense.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you think about somebody moving towards this place of health, and you imagine this idea of someone being kind of in tune and in alignment with their body, what would somebody expect to experience when they're at that place? Maybe for someone who doesn't know what that might be like, what is that experience like to be in tune and in alignment with your body? Is it pain-free? Is it energized? Like, what does that look like?
I don't think necessarily pain-free, because there are still gonna, even with injuries, a lot of these injuries, there's permanent damage. You tear an ACL, even if you get it repaired, it was torn at one point. And so I think being in tune is understanding, like during a workout, an exercise doesn't feel good. And understanding the difference between, there is productive pain. There is a pain where you're like, okay, this is just because I am working the muscles around this joint. And then there is pain where I am pushing too hard. I am going to pay for this later. Being in tune is knowing the difference, which we help patients learn all the time. But it's also like actually taking time to learn how to observe your body. Again, fast-paced worlds, like we're constantly distracted and don't have much silent by yourself time. But that's very much like, I want that, especially when you're doing my exercises, right? That's time where I want you to get away. I want you to go upstairs and be by yourself while you're doing it, because then you can like really feel what's happening. And then I love it when people give me like almost like too much information on their next appointment. Like, okay, I felt this felt good, this didn't. What do you think about this? I think people think they're bugging me because most other doctors, you have 5 minutes with them and they don't really care to hear about what you have to say. I want to know about all of it, every little ache and pain. In fact, I'll sometimes get email checkups. I got one today from a patient. Did this exercise, felt great. Last treatment, game changer. We need to do that again. And like, I love that feedback. That means you're in tune with your body. You can give me that feedback.
So wanting people to have kind of like singular focus, presence, embodied experience while they're going through the exercises. Yeah, not a kind of distracted and multitasking outside of their body.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so important. I think that's that kind of, we talk a lot about interoceptive awareness here that you experience while you're floating when you're reducing external stimuli and being able to kind of feel the sensations within your body.
Yeah.
I imagine that's an important feedback loop for that recovery process, because
Totally.
if that individual is the only one who can communicate what they're experiencing, they need to be able to understand it themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I'm never going to live in your body.
Yeah.
Only you're going to live in your body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When you see people who are doing a great job taking care of their body, and then people who aren't,
Yeah.
what do you see as the difference maker there? Is it that awareness? Is it an education and understanding of what to do? Is it about willpower and discipline? Is it about the motivating factor of pain? How do you see the difference between those individuals and helping somebody move towards being someone who is taking care of their body?
Yeah. I think the people who are the most motivated and motivation's a iffy word, right? Might not be the right word for that. But when people are motivated to take care of their body, most of the time it's because they've experienced what it's like to be on the other side of that. They maybe haven't taken care of their body, or they've experienced what true pain means and feels like, and they don't want to be back there. My patients I know you're going to be a good patient and take my homework seriously and like really take care of your body if you tell me things like I'm watching my parents right now age, and they've had a double hip replacement and they're in pain all the time. And yeah, they're 80, and they want to live 10 more years, but what's 10 more years if you're just going to sit on a couch and can't do anything yourself? Those people that have either seen or viscerally in themselves experienced what it feels like to not have their health, they're the most motivated. And I think, I don't necessarily think it's always just like willpower, because there's so many other complicating factors to that, right? And I also think in the medical system that we're in, people are quick to label things, quick to be like, oh, well, your knee hurts, it's just because you're overweight. And it's like, oh, well, there's so many other factors to that. And so many people get caught in, they can't take care of themselves because it hurts to take care of themselves. And so they need help out of that cycle. Does that make sense? But I do think the people that do take care of their bodies, you get to see not just more years in your life, more good years in your life. And I think people don't realize how often they actually don't need to put up with certain things. Like, you don't need to think that having low back pain every day is normal. That is not normal. And if you just took care of it, you probably could have so many years without back pain. So sometimes I also think it is a lack of knowing any better.
Yeah, and I think also, right, in the way that we do adapt, that pain becomes kind of like it becomes normalized, and it's just like this background experience that we forget that we're experiencing sometimes. We've had folks come in and not realize they were in pain until they had relief of the pain.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, my back's not hurting.
Yeah.
I don't even know how long it was hurting. And so it's interesting how pain kind of just becomes part of our experience, and we forget to notice that it's always there.
Totally. Yeah. Which goes back to being in tune enough to know and feel the pain. Yeah.
I can tell you're really passionate about this.
Yeah.
Where does all that come from for you?
Honestly, I think it's lightly selfish, to be honest. It is deeply satisfying to like watch people live better lives because they're no longer in pain, stuff like that. I think there's that piece of it. But then this last year has been the most fulfilling year of my entire life. Between building a business that now employs and is the what gives people livelihood in the jobs and the team and the fulfillment that we see there. That's really, really awesome. But then the amount of lives that has been changed, not necessarily because of what we're doing, but because of the hard work that our patients are putting in to get there, it is so cool. It is really, really cool. And so it's kind of an ever fueling thing, right? Because every time you're like lightly unmotivated in life and I'm like, oh, I'm tired, then a really hard case comes in and like we crack it and it's doing really well. And now the really fun part has been watching like our next doctor do the same thing and watch him make connections with these patients that are like life-changing, and it's really fun to be part of it.
That's great.
Yeah.
What do you see as the vision? Because this is just over a year old, the Well Yard.
Yeah.
What do you see as the vision for the Well Yard going forward?
I think the Well Yard, I think our location specifically will be filled here soon. I know it'll be filled. We're already running out of space. And I think having an environment there where it used to literally just be me and a patient in the whole office. And now like we're getting a little busier and you're watching like other patients are watching patients that are ahead of them in the rehab area. They're like, oh, I want to be able to do that. And so like I picture that kind of conversation happening more often at the Well Yard. And then I don't know from there. I think the demand that we have experienced, we had no idea that we would grow as quickly as we did. And the demand is high. We literally say all the time, oh my God, we need to create a wait list, or like, I need to stop treating 60 hours a week. But the demand's there. And so it's very hard to turn away somebody when they come to us and they're like, I'm in pain. And they're admitting it for the first time in 10 years. And you're like, sorry, our schedule's full. So I imagine we will expand because I can't stand that. I can't stand when they actually want help and we can't get it to them because of logistical problems. So I just don't know where we'll expand to or what that'll look like. I don't know.
When you're helping relieve pain in people, it's, it almost feels like an obligation of service that you have to respond to. Yeah. Yeah. What would you say if someone out there is watching this and maybe they're experiencing pain or chronic pain and they're listening to you talk about your rehabilitative care, but they're thinking, I don't know if that's for me. What would you say to that person?
It might not be for you, but it's worth exploring at the very least. I mean, specifically, if you're in St. Louis, we have a free visit. We want to see if it'd even be a good fit for you. And then we have recommendations. That's what the whole visit's for. And so I think it's worth checking out. But even if it's not us, even if it's not the Well Yard, I say this all the time, life is too short to just sit there and live in pain. And so you might as well explore some options, because having options is a good thing.
Well, Allie, thank you so much for coming in and talking with us today on the first episode of the Float STL podcast.
Yeah.
Could you let everyone know where they could find you online and how they can learn more about the Well Yard?
Yeah, so you can find us. Honestly, our social media is the best way. And so that's at The Well Yard, pretty simple. But also thewellyard.com is our website if you want more information. And feel free to always shoot us a message. We'd always be happy to chat.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And if you're interested, you can find out more information about Float STL at floatstl.com and at Floating STL on Facebook and Instagram.